Hey, this is Ian, and in this video I'm going to cover the question, how do you deal with loneliness teaching abroad? So here, I'm looking at recently the other day a Reddit post. There's a Reddit post by TJFRS, and he says, how do you deal with being alone in China? And he says, I've been teaching English on the outskirts of Beijing, 70 km away for a bit over 2 months now. One thing that is really getting to me is how few people speak English. I'm the only TEFL teacher in my entire district that I know of. My Chinese level is borderline non-existent. While initially I was fine, it's beginning to get to me how isolated I am from everyone else. I'm at a primary school, so I have difficulty with talking to the other teachers in English, and they all have their own lives and families besides. Has anyone here been in a similar situation? I feel hugely isolated and alone, and I haven't felt happy since I got here. How did you get around that issue? Okay, so first off, you're going to a foreign country where English is not the main language. Um, that's like common sense. I mean, you're going to have to keep in mind, and that's the way it is. So this is going to be one of your biggest like hurdles to get over teaching abroad, is that a lot of people aren't going to be able to speak English. You're going to have communication difficulties getting what you want, probably because you don't know their language, right? So yeah. So yeah, it's something you're gonna get. Yeah, sometimes you're gonna feel lonely, you know. Teaching abroad. That's just life. I think in general, wherever you are in the world, it doesn't matter if you're in a foreign country, if you're in your own country. Sometimes you're probably gonna feel lonely, you know. So and then you go abroad. That's definitely gonna happen because you're basically separating yourself from everything all your current connections. You know, you're separating yourself and you're going abroad. So it's going to be like whatever you're taking granted for now is going to be absent when you go abroad. All these relationships and people around you now that you can meet with or see, they're not going to be there when you're in a foreign country. Like, you'll be able to contact them with like email or phone or Skype or whatever, but so that's going to be a challenge. So I would say first off, learn the language. Like Dale said in another video I interviewed in Taiwan, yeah, he said like just commit like up front to studying the language for a year. Like, I would definitely put some effort into that. And if you're not interested, then I think you're in the wrong country. You should, pick a country where you're to teach English in, where you're interested in the language. So yeah, so there's just not going to be, and then you go to a depending on where you're going to be too, it could be a little different. There could be more people around that speak English. The more remote of an area you go to, the more likely there's going to be fewer people that speak English. You're in a bigger city, there's going to be more people who can speak English, but that doesn't mean everybody. There's still going to be plenty of people there that don't speak English. You're in a foreign country, that's just, yeah. So, all right, so what do you do? How do you stay feeling connected and, I don't know, not so lonely? What do you do? So what I would do is like two basic things. First off, you can do this. A lot of these things are just like things you can do in your own country right now. So the first two basic things that I'm going to cover are your own personal health. You got to take care of your own personal health. So, eat healthy and exercise. Those are two basic things. You have complete control over those things, and it's going to really help you out. So make sure you get, or you have some sort of you're eating good food, healthy food, and you're exercising. You need a routine, right? Now, you also need like yeah, there's this evidence out there that exercise help with depression and all that. So just as good as antidepressant drugs do. Okay, so yeah, it sounds easy sometimes to take a pill, but you don't need it. Like, why take a pill when you can go exercise and feel good and look better by doing that? So now the next thing you're gonna need is some social support. You feel lonely, right? So what do? How do you combat that? One thing I already mentioned is language. So what you could do is you could take a language class, or you can find a language exchange partner. Now, for that, you got to get on the local city expat site. A lot of cities, I don't know, that I've lived in have had Shanghai and Busan, all the cities I lived in, Taichung and Tainan, abroad, like pretty much had. Some of the smaller ones won't though. Like I think Changwon. I lived in a small city in Korea called Changwon for a little while. And that did they ever? I don't think they really did have a. They might have had a few bloggers that were there or something. But anyways, you got to get on the local city site and find where's the school, where's the language class, where can you go and take class, and that's a way for you. There's a few things. One, you can meet other foreigners in your situation that are also trying to, they're there, they may be teaching English or maybe they're not, but they're there and they want to learn the language. And now the second thing you can get out of this is, I think you need two things. Like I said, you need social support. You're in a foreign country. Try to make friends with some of the locals. So by doing that, you learn the language, or you can learn the language, and with some other foreigners like you teaching English. And I think those two things are going to help you feel more connected. If you just like say you just want to hang out with the foreigners, then again, I think that's kind of a form of isolation, and you're isolating yourself, and you're just kind of not. You got to integrate, So you need both, I think. The second thing you can do here, you could join a gym. Now, don't expect gyms wherever you are to be like the ones back home, and that's the same goes everything. When you're going abroad, don't expect it to be like home. A lot of things are going to be different. Everything, food, people, culture, environments, language, all kinds of things. So, yeah, join a gym. Some might be a little more, like foreign friendly, or more glossy, or more glamorous, or there may be a chain or something like that. Next thing, start a martial art. When I was in Taiwan, I learned some Wing Chun, and it was a way for me to make some friends and have a social connection, and at the same time learn something new. That was pretty cool. And now I do judo and jujitsu, and that's awesome. That's my social connection, and the cool thing is I can go anywhere because I like doing that, and I can have a community anywhere I go. When I go to Japan next, where I'm going to go, I'm going to I'll be able to find a community, other people doing that, meet people, and I can learn, and then have some social connections and stuff, and is great. So I'd recommend learn a martial art. There's all kinds of martial arts out there to learn. So wherever you're going, it's a good idea. And these sort of things, they take time to learn. You don't learn them overnight, and it can be scary to start. There's always some fear, and that's just part of it. But yeah, I recommend it. Start a martial art. So next idea, dance. If you're interested in dance, take a dance class. Now there's all kinds of classes out there. You could take a yoga class. Other thing, all different kinds of class. You get on the city site and find out what kinds of groups are there. Maybe there's scuba diving. Maybe there's hiking classes. I put that down there. You could hike or travel around locally. You don't always have time to take big trips, but you could travel around and meet new people. The other idea is to start a new hobby. Start something new. a new hobby. Like, okay, well, I'm lonely. What am I going to do with my time? Maybe I'm going to start to learn how to play a guitar, or maybe I'm going to knit, or maybe I'm going to start writing poetry, or um, that sort of thing. So there are some ideas there. Now, a lot of it's just up to you. There's one more idea I'm going to put out there is work on your future self. For most people, like 90% or more, teaching English abroad is not a career. It's something they do for 1 or 2 years at the most for most people. So what are you going to do after that? Like, like start something, start a project, like um, anything, like online, or like work on your skills or something. So again, like these things, you can find groups and stuff just by doing Googling, or use Facebook to find groups. Or personally, I don't use Facebook or Instagram, but like, yeah, you can look on those sites. You can find. In the past, I just used Google, and like I said, I found like local expat sites, and you can also meet people in abroad. You can meet people in bars and stuff like that too, and find out what they're doing. Um, I don't know. It's a way to connect with people. There's the drinking element there, and it is what it is. So it's not the best way, I think, to actually meet people, because they're going to be in an altered state, and yeah, well, you know how that goes. So does location matter? Yeah, I would say one thing. I would say if you're a really outgoing person, I guess this is for someone who hasn't taught abroad yet, and that's watching this. Then I would choose a bigger city, because you're just gonna have there's gonna be more foreigners there, and more stuff going on, more people in general. So in a more rural area, it's going to be smaller, and you could have fewer options. Anyway, so that's my. Those are some ideas on how not to feel lonely and isolated teaching English abroad. And you can always communicate with your friends and family, of course, online and whatnot. But you got to be active. You got to be sort of out there and assertive and going after um, the things you want, and you can't expect things to fall in your lap. All right. So that's all I have to say. Peace, and have a good one.